Think of it this way, you could either be successful or be us. With our catchy tunes of us, with our winning smiles of us, or we're photogenic, you know.
I was going for that.
Kyle, welcome to Make a Mixtape.
Hey, Zach.
So Kyle, you and I, we know each other because we work together, and we've just finished a 2-year program together. So like we've worked together a lot.
Yeah.
So it's nice to kind of do this at the end of Emerging Leaders as like a, just like sealing it off, locking it in.
I like that.
So let's talk about you. Let's make a mixtape about you. Let's learn about, your childhood and how you grew up, and let's go down, baby, your street in a Range Rover. Let's talk about Nelly, a classic song, and why this one reminds you of your childhood.
Yeah. So I grew up in South Florida. So a lot of my influence was, hip hop and rap music. And this song to me was cool because it kind of merged the suburban culture with hip hop. I remember my aunt picked me up one day and she was bumping Nelly. And I was like, whoa, this is cool. Like, you know about Nelly? And she's like, I love this song. And just that kind of, he was like one of the first rappers to me to be able to like go on both sides where, you could have a suburban mom playing Nelly, but you could also have, hear Nelly in the hood. So it's kind of that cool song that no matter where you went, you kind of heard it.
That's true. I feel like for me, just being like a New Hampshire MTV kid, Nelly was a big deal because of the idea of like he was singing, but he was rapping. And I remember, I talk about this on the podcast a lot, but I remember like when I was a kid, like radio stations in my hometown were always really divided about like rap. So like our most popular radio station would be like this pop station, and they would advertise the fact that they would not play rap. So they were like all the greatest hits and no rap. And they would say that like, as a selling point. And we always hated that. And we always thought it was so funny that like if there was a song that had like a rap verse in it, like Sugar Ray, like Fly has a rap third verse, they would cut that part out and they would just play the rest of it. But these people like Nelly would basically break down these barriers because that song was so like inarguably popular that those radio stations had to start playing those songs, and they had to kind of slowly walk back their no rap policy.
I like that.
Yeah, so he was, Nelly was a boundary breaker. I feel like I don't really know what happened to Nelly.
I feel like he's still, I don't know if he's like relevant like he was, but I still feel like he's, like he probably does concerts, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah. Okay, so you grew up in Florida. What was that like?
So I grew up in West Palm Beach, and we always had this joke about like the train tracks, like on one side is these $1 million homes and on the other side is not so pleasant. We would always do this joke with people that would come and visit us. We call it the corner challenge. And we would ask people to just, hang out in the corner for 5 minutes to tell you what you see. And you'd probably see, an arrest going down, maybe some drug deals. It's just one of those things where you never know what you'd see in 5 minutes. So that's kind of like the neighborhood I grew up in. Which, if you're in it, it's kind of endearing and you kind of like build a bond together. But if you're not in it, then it's kind of a scary place to grow up.
You're like, I know you as like a very community oriented person. Do you feel like that sense of community, do you feel like you had a strong sense of it then, or is it the kind of thing you only recognize in retrospect?
Oh, that's a really good question, Zach. Yeah, I think I've always like cared about, my community. I think it was just seen different. It was almost seen like, we were kind of proud of the reputation of crime we had, like as a tough guy standpoint. But obviously the older you grow up and as you start to learn, you want to start, breaking down barriers and like, you want to get out of the hole, so you want to contribute and create opportunities for people to get out of it. But as a kid, we were kind of proud of it as kind of like, these are like our war stripes almost,
Now most of your family still down in Florida. How is it that you ended up living in Maine? Like basically as far from Florida as you can get.
Yeah, I spent my early 20s traveling the country, and I knew Florida as a place that as much as I love Florida, I didn't want to live my whole life there, and I had an opportunity to come to Maine and kind of fell in love with it. It's the way life should be.
That is what it says on the signs. All right, let's talk about a song you consider to be an all-time favorite. This is Lil Wayne. This is Shooter.
Yeah.
Now, I know Lil Wayne fairly well from the album that had A Milli on it.
Yeah.
And so I have this sort of one fixed idea in my head of what Lil Wayne is like.
Okay.
And I was realizing in listening to this song how wrong or how limited that perspective is. So talk to me about why you think this is an all-time great song.
Yeah, so Lil Wayne to me, changed my life. If you spoke to me from ages 14 to 20, I was probably listening to Lil Wayne at any random given time. And this song to me, no matter what mood I'm in or what I'm doing, if you put this song on to me, I'm going to let the whole thing ride. This song was about, and at the time, especially growing up in the South, there was this divide in rap music where Northern rap was about lyrics and Southern rap was just about catchy radio tunes. And Lil Wayne was starting to break that mold, and he was very lyrical. And so this song was about stop being stereotypical. And I just love it. I think Lil Wayne's lyrics, I think Robin Thicke on the chorus kind of brings you in and makes you feel warm and safe, even though they're talking about, a robbery.
I found that what it reminded me of sonically more than anything is, have you ever heard Dr. John?
Yeah.
It's an old New Orleans. It sounds like Lil Wayne doing Dr. John. And I thought that was really cool. There's something to it. And I was actually surprised it was Robin Thicke too, because I think I only know Robin Thicke from Blurred Lines.
Yeah.
So again, but isn't it funny how you talk about this idea, the sort of divides in rap too? It's funny how as kids we latch onto that stuff. And I really think it's because whatever the narrative about music is, it helps us understand music better. I grew up listening to a lot of pop punk music, and I talk on the podcast all the time about how I didn't really understand anything about music beyond drums, guitar, bass, because that was what all my favorite bands were. And so if a band had a piano player in it, I thought it was so fancy and different. And it's actually almost every band ever has had a piano player. It's not weird at all. But it's my idea of what music could be got gradually built out from my first idea, and the bands that helped me learn that are really special to me. So in that same way, Lil Wayne is really special to you, probably because he helped you start to understand, put together a little bit more about music at that critical time, as you say, 14 to 20. Yeah. That's prime music shaping your lifetime.
Yeah, and anyone that grew up in, I was born in 1990, so anyone who grew up in that time, especially rap fans, it was kind of even on MTV, you'd see top 10 best rappers, or people always talk about who's the best rapper alive and stuff. And for me, Lil Wayne was someone we can be proud of in the South, because he was, one of maybe 4 people that got brought up in that conversation. And the majority of those people were from, New York or the North. So someone to be proud of was definitely Lil Wayne as far as lyrical content.
He also works with everybody. There's no, how there are certain rappers who have kind of a circle of collaborators. Lil Wayne might show up anywhere. And I think that's kind of it's a testament, I think, to his style or his ability to kind of blend different styles. So that's cool. I always like that in an artist.
We see F natural bird baby, BRBs, SBs, matching shirt maker, white tee, neck, feet, glasses are Versace. Married to the mob, but I'm a bachelor baby. Love is in the air, I put on the gas mask. Rather be head first than ass last. I'm a gorilla, call me Sasquatch. And I keep my army with me like MASH. Light up the perk, pass it like Steve Nash. Bitch, I'm so hot, I give your ass a heat rash. Young money, boy, I'm on 03 cash. Such a CEO like my homie D-Dash. Yes, we mash like Pac and the Outlaws. When we stand up and try not to downfall. Try to reach my goal like a round ball. Freddie will do anything for the crown, y'all.
While we're talking about rap and let's talk about music, let's talk about the fact that you just put out your first song.
Oh, thanks.
So talk to me about How long have you been rapping?
Since 6th grade.
What was the process back then? Were you ever recording? Were you like on a cassette recorder, like laying out your first tracks?
Yeah, I recorded my first song with a good friend of mine in 8th grade, and he had a karaoke machine. So we got the Mobb Deep 5 on it, threw it in the karaoke machine, and just recorded over it. So we had the 5 on it beat, and then we just rapped over it. And we had a little tape that we give out to our friends.
Okay, so more recently, you recorded this song. What was the process like of recording that? What are you using? Who are you working with?
Yeah, so it's just me, and I have 2 kids, a 3-year-old and a 6-month-old. So when everyone goes to sleep, I just turn the Mac on, and kind of just record in a room that no one's in. It's kind of fun though, because they go to sleep at 8 to 10 by the time my wife goes to sleep. So trying to find that energy to like put into music is not always easy. So the process has been a lot longer than I would usually like. But so I might write a song, and then maybe 3 or 4 months it might take me to record it or find the time to record it.
I've been going through some things. Don't worry about a thing. Don't worry about a thing. Don't worry about it. I've been going through some things. I've been going through it. Don't worry about a thing. Don't worry about a thing. Don't worry about it. From the bottom, but I made it out. Not saying that I'm better, I'm just better off. Some things you gotta lose, but it's not lost. Many got the cheese, big got the sauce. Watching them, that's how I learned how to be a boss. Take nothing for granted since I lost my granny. You can run the game and still pull a Hemi. Pac never won a Grammy. Try not to focus on the negative. I
have a father-in-law who's in a jam band in Portland, and he had his heyday back in like the early 90s, and for Christmas I put his music on Spotify and all like things for him, and he had a blast with it. He like called all of his friends like, hey, tell Alexa to play my music. And my daughter, who's 3, will just walk in the living room and say like, hey, Alexa, play his music. And so that's what kind of inspired me to put it out there. So like, I don't plan on quitting the bank, but maybe something my kids can listen to when they're older, when they're hanging out with their friends, would be really cool.
It's funny that sometimes it is just that. It's the realization of how you can put the music out there. You're like, oh yeah, like whatever, DistroKid or whatever the service to get something on Spotify. You're like, oh, now that I realize that this is possible, all this other stuff that I've been working on or making, now I see these new possibilities for it. So that's cool. Okay, so first of all, welcome to Make a Mixtape. Forgot to say that. Second of all, speaking of the way that things are distributed and how that changes the way you think about the things that you make, I have a Substack blog, a free Substack blog that I've had for a while, and it's called Make a Mixtape as well. Recently, I wrote a whole series of posts about The Bear Season 3, which seemed to get a lot of people to notice that I had this Substack. And so I thought, okay, now I should probably keep writing on here. So last weekend, I wrote a post about Twisters, and it got me thinking, should this blog have a different name than the podcast? Like, should it have a variation on the theme, maybe? Like pop culture mixtape? Is that a good idea? A good way to expand my brand? And for a few minutes, I was like, yes, I'm going to do that. They were the few minutes when I actually published that Twisters post. So if you got it in your email, you got a whole paragraph about this name change that I deleted the next day. Because while clicking around on Substack and trying to change the name, I realized there was actually a way to host my podcast, this podcast, on Substack too, for free. No shade to my friends at Libsyn, home to this show for the past 7 years, but it costs between $5 and $15 a month, and I've always thought that was kind of strange. Like, I think the companies that charge for bandwidth are, in 2024, mostly lying about it being a real expense. If you've got money to burn making a stupid AI assistant that can't do fucking anything except suggest reworded episode titles, you can pay for the file storage. So anyway, I decided I would go ahead and migrate the show over to Substack, and therefore, I didn't want to change the name of the blog anymore. Long live Make a Mixtape, the universal brand, zachlittle.substack.com. If you are currently listening to this episode on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, that means the migration worked. And if you're not listening to this, I screwed it up. But I think I did it right. There's this thing called a 301 permanent redirect, and it happens almost instantaneously. It's amazing how fast some of our technology is now. 148 episodes of this show copied over to Substack in like maybe 6 or 7 minutes. By the way, the next episode of this podcast will be episode 150, apparently. That's pretty cool. Today on the show, as you're hearing, is Kyle Patrick, rapper, coworker, father, Floridian, friend. Let's get back into it.
I think in my younger years I was so my mom loves country music. My dad loves classic rock and reggae, and then my brothers love rap. So just from an early age I was like kind of around a lot of music, and then the older I grew I fell in love with folk music, and so I'm just always trying to like listen to the creativity. It's not necessarily like a genre. I try to actually like find something different, if anything. Yeah.
How were they how did music get played in your house? Like a lot of people tell me like, oh, on Sundays we would always clean and my mom would like put, whatever Motown records on or whatever. But for you, what was the situation?
Yeah. So I grew up, I have 4 brothers in total, but 3 of my brothers, two of my older brothers is kind of who I grew up with. My little brother's 8 years younger than me. But me and my 2 older brothers, my dad would give us, $10 to $20 every Friday. And me and my brother Nick would go to Target and just buy a CD. So that was kind of our thing. And so he would buy a CD, I'd buy a CD, and then we'd probably listen to that CD for the whole week until the next Friday came. So that was kind of our outlet to like listening to mostly rap music. And then when my mom would take us to school, she would listen to the country, and we couldn't touch the radio. And then when my dad picked us up, he would mostly be listening to classic rock, but he'd actually allow us to mess with the radio station a little bit. So we'd always just put it on the rap station.
That's funny. That's like with my children and my wife and I can see versions of those roles playing out too sometimes, where it's like sometimes either one of us is more generous with the Spotify controls with our children, but other times we're like, no, I need you to listen to this. Like, I need you to hear, I need to, but like my kids always want me to play like the Mission Impossible theme lately. So like we play the Mission Impossible theme and then we like jump all over the house like spies. So that's pretty fun, but I'm like, oh man, my Spotify like year wrapped is like totally screwed based on this. It's going to be Michael Giacchino Mission Impossible score is going to be #1 with a bullet. But so yeah, so you went out and you went to Target and you like just like picked out CDs. When you went there, did you have like a sense of what you're going to get, or was it a little bit more exploratory?
Yeah. So it really depended. If there was like an artist that came out that me and my brother like were waiting on, we would definitely get that album. But if not, we would get kind of creative with it and just go off like the picture itself, or maybe we've heard like one song on the radio.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember, but there was I think it was FYI was like a big CD store back then. And if you went to FYI, you can like demo the songs before you heard it. So you could hear like 10 seconds. But Target didn't have anything like that. So a lot of times we were just going off the hope. And then, you get disappointed. Maybe there'd be that one hit radio song, but then the rest of the album was not good.
Right.
But yeah, so it's kind of fun. Yeah, just kind of exciting. Or sometimes you'd find a song that, no one had heard before. And, it became the hit because it was kind of unique to me and my brother.
Right. I remember those machines with the listening stations because originally there'd maybe be like a featured record that you could listen to, and that was it. So you could come up to the machine and you could just play whatever record was there on the stand. Then I remember there being a version, I think it was like at Hot Topic, where there would be buttons for like 4 or 5 of their like featured albums. So you could do that. And then eventually it got to that point where you could scan the barcode and then you could just listen to previews of it. And it's like, wow, that we were so close to like the iTunes store 30-second preview and we didn't even really know it. Yeah. Like, so it's interesting to think about that. But yeah, like I remember, it's funny that you say that about your dad giving you money for CDs, because I remember both of my parents would sometimes like call me when they were on the way home and ask me if I wanted them to pick up like a CD. They were like, oh, I'm gonna go buy Boneless Music. Do you want me to pick up any albums? Basically. And I remember always thinking at the time that it was like wildly generous, like we were not like we weren't a family that was like on really hard times financially or anything, but I definitely, you had to save up money, or you didn't just get to have things. But for some reason with music, my parents were always just like, yeah, whatever, I remember having to tell my father the name of a Blink-182 album over the phone, and it was a sort of dirty album title, and I remember telling him, and he was like, oh God. But he went and got it, like, despite the fact that he did not like that he had to go tell the record store guy that's the album he wanted. He got it for me. But that was a different situation, right? Because you had to know. So I read a lot of music magazines, and so I always kind of had a little list in the back of my head, in the same part of my brain now that has a list of movies that I think are on various streaming services, and I'm like, I might want to check that out if I have a spare 2 hours. That list, when I was a teenager, used to be albums I might like to check out based on like a song maybe I heard on MTV, or sometimes literally just an article. Like, you read an article and you're like, that sounds like I would like that band. So yeah, but it's cool. The little ways in which our parents can help guide us, but also let us create our own kind of style is like, as parents. Yeah. Every time I think about that stuff, I'm like, oh, all right, filing that away. Yeah. Noted.
Yeah, I'm not listening to any music advice my kid has until she's at least 7, but
yeah, so right now my oldest son Arlo really listens to a lot of Imagine Dragons, which I don't like, but I understand, I get why he likes it. It's like, it's very bright and loud, and it's got like really big beats. Yeah. But like when I listen to it, I kind of feel like there was like an old joke on The Office about the Black Eyed Peas being rap for people who don't like rap and pop for people who don't like pop. And I'm like, what is Imagine Dragons? It's rock music for people who don't like guitars.
Yeah, we're on Disney soundtracks and kid nursery songs right now, so.
Yeah, I feel like the Disney soundtrack thing, it comes in harder and hits faster with daughters, but I think that boys are not immune to it. My kids definitely like musicals. I used to sing a song from Les Miserables to my son when I was trying to get him to fall asleep, and he remembered that recently. And so then I started playing that soundtrack, and so now they keep requesting. They're like, "Hey, play Do You Hear the People Sing?" And I think it's all the voices. Like, they like all the voices singing together and all the loudness of it. So I don't know, but with Disney soundtracks, it's like sort of so they can remember the story again.
Yeah, exactly. I think
so.
They have the characters they can kind of remember too.
Right. So it's like being able to watch the movie again without even having to watch it. You can like watch the movie again while coloring or whatever. It's pretty sick. Let's talk about a song that lifts your mood. Let's talk about Prince.
Oh yeah.
Early Prince.
Oh yeah.
It feels like when you listen to that, I listened to Prince a lot as a young boy, but when you listen to I Want to Be Your Lover, you're like, wow, it's cool hearing what Prince had right away and what he added in later.
Yeah. He's just so talented. This was actually probably the hardest question for me. It was definitely between Prince and James Brown. But I've been listening to Prince a lot more lately, so I just felt like I had to put a Prince in there. But yeah, I Want to Be a Lover. Like, I love how it's probably like 40 seconds of just music on, and you can kind of just vibe and be thinking about different things, but kind of puts you in a positive mindset.
It's funny to think about Prince at that time. Like, I think there's like a legendary story about like Michael Jackson pulling him up on stage because he had heard his music and he was like, this guy's going to be a big deal. But yeah, it's just funny because Prince feels so like godlike that you're like, oh, it's weird to remember he was just like a young man getting his start. But yeah. So what is your relationship to music and changing your mood? Like, we'll talk about songs that makes you sad in a minute too, but like, is that something you're definitely aware of? Are you ever like, oh man, I'm feeling kind of down, I gotta put some Prince on and turn this around?
Yeah, I think it's more, that's interesting. Not necessarily I'm down and I gotta pick myself up, but there's definitely songs where I'm like, I'm gonna avoid that because I'm in a good mood kind of thing.
Sure, yeah, okay.
And like for me, like rap music is hard because a lot of it reminds me of like different times in my youth. So I'm like, that's going to put me in a place of me like Hustle Kyle, and I don't really want to be in Hustle Kyle mode kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or like, I'm I deal with competitiveness a lot, so I try to be more on the less competitive side, and sometimes rap will put me in that mood. So a lot of like I'm listening to like a lot of folk music to maybe put me in a mellow mood, or like
make you less competitive.
Yeah,
it makes
exactly,
sense. Folk
yeah.
music is the music of like labor unions, you know, so it's like less competitive.
or some Prince, something to put me in a positive mood, some James Brown, just thinking about some like light, fluffy, happy stuff.
It's interesting. I had never. It makes sense that it would be you who broaches this idea, but I've never thought about music to make you feel like less competitive, or even I'm not by nature really a competitive person. So the music to make you feel competitive is like your Jock Jams compilations, basically.
Anything you listen to in the gym, right? Like,
yeah, but that would actually be a funny if I needed to write more questions for this podcast, like what's a song that makes you feel competitive? Because I bet a lot of people who are like former athletes and that kind of thing would have a specific song and a specific memory.
Oh yeah, especially if you got to get in the mood to like go win or go accomplish something. You had that song that just
yeah, to get you hyped up song.
Hyped, yeah.
Yeah, it's different. It's different than raising your mood. It's funny. It's like that's a totally different mood. I know, because I am definitely the kind of person who I'm aware enough of my own mood that I'm like, I know I'm a little down or something, and sometimes I don't even really know why. It's probably like I just didn't sleep enough or didn't drink enough water, but it's like I'll put on Bruce Springsteen on purpose to just be like, I'm just going to turn this around. Because I have like a very strong memory of, it was when I was trying to buy a house. The deal fell through on the first house that we were, or actually I walked away from the first house we had an offer on that was accepted, and I walked away because the inspection was so bad. And I was like devastated because I wanted this house so bad. I still think about this house. It was so great. And actually knowing what I do now about houses and stuff, I'm like, I should have taken it. Because it seemed really bad to me, the problems with that house. But what I've dealt with in the last 8 years, it's like I could have handled that easily. Yeah. So although would I have been able to handle it easily if I had not gone through the horrors of owning the house that I own? I don't know. But anyway, the point is I have this distinct memory of like putting on literally Born to Run while going for a run and being like, oh my God, I feel a million times better. I didn't realize that like music could do that. So for you, that's Prince. Pretty good choice.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Beyonce making you sad. Let's talk about Lemonade. Why does it make you sad?
Yeah, this is an interesting one, but I just think to me it's the story more than anything.
Sure.
And I obviously don't know Jay-Z or Beyonce personally, but to me it's like this iconic power couple and Jay-Z possibly cheating on her. And so it's this idea of that like Beyonce can get cheated on. It just kind of brings my mood down that like, you have this like perfect iconic, like I think their first song together was Bonnie and Clyde. This idea of like this power couple, this duo, this loyalty. And then that like at some point in our lives, we hear the song about her struggling, that loyalty fell through, got broken. And it just makes me sad to think about it. And like, she's like, should I be jealous or crazy or, just that like, just that idea of like this, like, it would be like, I'm trying to think of like, Tommy Pickles and Chucky not being friends anymore. Like this, this duo, like Batman and Robin, like breaking out. This idea that like one of them would betray each other, just like, it really hurts the heart.
Weird question, but are your parents still married?
They are actually, yeah.
Okay, see, that's interesting. I feel like children of divorce, like me, and people who have parents that stayed together maybe have slightly different perspectives on that too, where it's in a good way, you're like not as cynical about it. But also I think my brother and I have very different perspectives on that kind of thing. And obviously he was in the same family, went through the same divorce, but he was younger. And I think he has more of he's less cynical about it. Which is funny that I thought about that because I sort of thought maybe that would be your answer when I saw this was your answer for this question, that like this idea of Jay-Z and Beyonce kind of like not making it work just was like kind of depressing, which I understand, but at the same time I'm like I don't know, like everyone's fundamentally unknowable. I'll never really know what Beyonce and Jay-Z's relationship was like. But I mean, you know, some great songs come from that kind of turmoil.
Yeah, if you can feel the pain in the song, you know, I think you're doing something right as an artist.
Now, moving on from Beyonce to Sister Nancy, let's talk about a song that makes you feel productive. This is Bam Bam. Great song. I knew this. You know how I heard this song originally because it's sampled in Famous, the Kanye West song. And I have always been the kind of person who looks up what the samples are. And especially now it's gotten so much easier with the internet. It used to have to be, you'd wait to have to hear a song on the radio and then go, hey, with like, I listened to a lot of Puff Daddy, unfortunately, when I was in like 5th and 6th grade. Yeah. So you would hear these songs and then I'd hear the original song later and be like, oh my gosh, this is, you know, More Money, More Problems or whatever. So yeah, talk to me about what makes you feel productive and why you like this song. Yeah, so it's interesting. I think I've talked to you about this before, but my dad is Jamaican. My dad is a white Jamaican. But one of my favorite cocktails, a white Jamaican. But yeah, so we grew up with a lot of reggae. It's interesting though, because if I talk to like Jamaicans now, I don't know any current like up and coming reggae music or what's popular. I just know like Peter Tosh and Bob Marley and Sister Nancy, which is kind of funny. I need to change that probably. But yeah, so Sister Nancy Bam Bam was just a song we would play like when we wanted to like, you know, clean the house or, you know, like do something that wasn't always fun, like dishes or something like that. But it's just like a fun, silly song that kind of just, you know, not that many people have heard before. So it's kind of cool and unique, but like definitely gets the vibes right when you want to do something that isn't always fun. It is like a kitchen song for sure. Yeah. So like as a father in a household, what's the chore situation for you normally? What's the like stuff you got to do all the time that you're like, I got to do this again? Yeah, I think so. You know, I wish I don't know about wish, but you know, back in the 40s, a husband was a different role, I think. But me, I just try to do it like whatever, you know, the yin to the yang, whatever my wife. So my wife is cooking, I'll clean. You know, if my wife is, you know, putting the laundry in, I'll fold the laundry. You know, so whatever I can do to be productive on that side. So my chores are usually the alternate of what she got going on. So she's cleaned the kitchen, I'll try to clean the kitchen, I'll try to clean the living room kind of thing. That's similar to me, although like there are certain hygiene, like brushing teeth for one thing. She doesn't want me to brush. She wants to brush the boys' teeth. Or I mean, you know, now we're like working with Arlo to like brush his own teeth, but she like wants to supervise that part. So like she's the toothbrusher, I'm the bathing supervisor. So we have kind of the two stations, right? It's like brushing teeth while the other kid's washing up, and then like, you know, she sticks around at bedtime for a little while and I go wash dishes. So like I always think of dishwashing songs because like that's part of my day every single day. If I knew how many hours I spend washing dishes, because like kids generate so many dishes and laundry, it's crazy. And also like the problem with I think plastic kids' dishes are the worst. They're like the hardest thing to wash by hand. You have to like really get in there with like the hottest water imaginable, or it's like, or somehow it's gonna come out like covered in like this like grease. Yeah. You know, you're like, what even is this? Is it in my water? So yeah. Anyway, this song. It's going on my dishwashing playlist. I like that. I just wanted you to know. Okay, let's talk about a song that makes you feel creative. Let's talk about Tyler, the Creator. Yeah. No pun intended. So talk to me about Lumberjack.
Yeah, I'm honestly not a huge Tyler the Creator. Not that I'm not a fan, I just don't listen to him that much. My little brother actually introduced me to Tyler the Creator. But I saw his BET, I think it's 2021, his BET Awards performance, and he performed this song. And for me, it was a life-changing performance. Like most of the time when I think of musicians on stage, I just think of them on stage. But he had a background playing. He had like a prop of like a fake car where like he's getting blown away by like a hurricane, and he's like still rapping while like being in the moment of this hurricane. And it just kind of like, like when someone's trying to teach you something and you don't get it, and then they say something and you don't know how they said it or what they said, but it just clicked. That was like this moment for me where I saw it. I'm like, wow, like concerts can be way more than whatever we've just accepted. And he kind of, to me, stepped the game up where like, you can have a recording artist that kind of brings you to a play or a movie or cinematic experience. And he did that for me. So for me, when I think of creativity, I think of like this person that like kind of just blew my lid on what music and performance could be.
Mm-hmm. I like guys like Tyler the Creator, and like somebody like Childish Gambino is very similar in a way where they seem to have so many interests, both musically, like they both kind of hop genres, but then also outside of music too, where it's really interesting to see whatever they're working on, but you think it must be hard to have that be like your favorite artist, because like Tyler the Creator is not going to release music that is like what he did before. So like if you really love, his first album, then it's like, sorry, you don't get any more of that. Okay, let's talk about a song you associate with a good memory, Yellow Submarine, the Beatles.
Yeah.
Yeah, so wait a minute. Your child is named after one of the Beatles.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Beatles and you and your family.
Yeah, so I actually was never really hip on the Beatles, which is a crazy statement because they're the Beatles.
Do you have any sisters?
I know sisters.
That's probably part of it.
Okay. That might be it.
Sisters always find the Beatles.
That makes sense. But my wife is a huge Beatles fan.
There you go. She's somebody's sister.
Yeah, she's somebody's sister. When we met, I inherited my dog, who's a German Shepherd, but our dog's name is Rigby, after Eleanor Rigby. Just big Beatles. She has a Beatles tattoo. So we like the Beatles. I kind of like, to impress her, I started like listening to like a lot of Beatles. So I was impressed. Obviously, you got to be impressed by the Beatles. But for me, we named our daughter Lennon after John Lennon. And this song reminds me of my daughter. So, which is ironic enough because I think this one's sung by Ringo.
Yeah.
But
you did not name your second daughter Ringo.
No, I did not name my second daughter. We actually named her Scarlet after a Grateful Dead song, Scarlet Begonias.
Oh, yeah, that's a great song.
Yeah, trying to be those cool parents. But yeah, so, and then my daughter, she actually changes it to Rainbow Submarine now because she's like rainbows and unicorns. But yeah, so we play this song a lot and just we dance and have fun. And so anytime I think of, not that other Beatles songs don't remind me of my daughter, but this one is like a good vibe, kind of upbeat. And yeah, I just think of my daughter.
Nice. I love that. Very cool. Yeah. I feel like Yellow Submarine is big with kids.
Oh yeah.
It definitely catches on.
Yeah. It's silly. It's kind of whimsical.
Which is funny because I think if you showed kids the animated movie Yellow Submarine, they'd be like, make this stop. Take this away from me right away. But they like the song.
Yeah.
Well, that is our show. I just want to say that Kyle's last song that he picked on the mixtape was George Ezra's Paradise, which he says reminds him of his wife. Very sweet. I cut it for timing reasons. I always feel bad when I do that too. I ask people for a song that reminds them of a loved one they might even share this episode with, and then I'm like, yeah, but it really feels like the episode should end right before this. Maybe I gotta start doing like a little Casey Kasem dedication when I cut this stuff out. Today's episode goes out to Kyle's wife, Jenna. Kyle says whenever he hears the soothing, bizarrely baritone vocal stylings of George Ezra, he thinks of you, Jenna. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back next time with more Make a Mixtape on WZDL 96.9 FM.